Jr Dragsters. My name is Bill. If you haven't learned about it yet, go ahead and check us out at Jr Dragster Plus. That'll be, I'll add a link at the bottom of this video here. And my username on the board is Wild Bill. Go ahead, ask it all the questions you want. There are no silly questions, just, we've heard it all before and we've all been there before. So go ahead, give us a shout out and check us out, and we'll all be more than happy to help you. Now, on to the video. Hey everybody, welcome back to another Learning Jr Dragsters video. My name is Bill. Today's video I'm going to show you how to install a throttle cable on a Jr Dragster, specifically with a 33mm carburetor. 33, 40, 42, 45, 48 should all be relatively close. If you need a demonstration on how to install the throttle cable on a 28mm carburetor, look at my video on the overview of the 28, and I discuss how the cable attaches to the slide on the 28 in that video. So we're going to get the camera moved, start taking our existing throttle cable off of Taylor's car, and we'll get shots around the car and hopefully show you everything you need to know. On with the video. Alright, first we're going to start down here at the throttle pedal. You see this one has this cable nut type stop on it. I really don't like these. I much prefer to drop everything. I much prefer these cable collets, and this is what I'll be putting on. They clamp better. I think they're easier to adjust. They're easier to service out in the field if you need to do anything. And they do less damage to the cable and less fraying on the cable. So that's what I'm going to be putting back on. To take this cable nut off, we use a 5/16 wrench and a screwdriver. Just hold the nut with the wrench, loosen the screw on the top that pinches the cable. Anybody else seem to drop a screwdriver every time they're trying to work around a camera in between a roll cage frame? Maybe it's just me. Alright, got that loose, and now we can pull the cable nut off and slide the cable out. I understand some of your guys' cars are going to be set up with different pedals than mine. Obviously, just make adjustments as you see necessary. But now we'll just unroute the cable from the body and go back to the back of the car by the carburetor. Alright, now we're back over on the throttle cable side of the carburetor. You can see I've got a double nut here on the sleeve of the cable. And just take your 7/16 wrench on the top nut, loosen the top nut and back that all the way off. You can see down here at the bottom there's actually a lock groove in this cable bracket that holds the bottom nut. Just get it backed off, slide your cable bracket out, roll your cable over, and that one just popped right out. But as you can see, there's the slot right here. It's where your cable's gonna, barrel's gonna slide in that hole. Cable goes in and then rotates up and keeps your cable from sliding in or out or coming off the carburetor. But you just rotate it up till the cable lines up with that slot, and it slides right out. Now we'll take this new cable over onto the workbench, or take this and the new cable over onto the workbench and size everything up. Okay, trying to get the full length and lining up two cables on camera seemed to be nigh unto impossible, given that these are about 102 inches long when they're new, roughly, give or take. But as you can see, I've marked out with a piece of tape where I want to make my cut. You can do this one of two ways. You can either line it up, side by side with the old cable, or put the cable, start routing the cable in the car, and make sure you have your pedals moved to the farthest point forward in the car. That way you leave room for your child to grow and you don't have to buy a new cable when you find you have to move your pedals forward. First thing you want to do before you cut the cable, get it in camera here. Before you cut the cable, you want to make sure you take, before you cut the housing, you want to make sure you take the cable out. Because if you cut them both at the same time, you're not going to have any cable left to hook up to your throttle pedal. So we'll just take this cable out, and take the inner cable out. We'll roll it up and set it aside for the time being, because we won't come back to this until we actually have the housing installed on the car. So we'll just make this nice and pretty so it doesn't unroll and get all over the place in the garage. Now I'm going to do this with the cable held in the vise. Don't need a lot of tension. You do not want to crush the housing. Just enough to lightly pinch it to where you're not distorting it. Now I'm going to take my Dremel. You could use a hacksaw or anything really. And just anywhere in the tape is going to be fine for this application. Now we can remove the tape. Now we have a nice straight clean end. Now we're ready to take this back over to the car. Alright, we're ready to put our cable housing back in the car. Go ahead and make sure you got plenty of room here on your nuts. Your nuts are separated so you can get the housing locked up in against that one. Then you take this top nut, go ahead and tighten that down. And we'll take our cable and feed it back through roughly about the same way that your cable came out of your car. we'll put our clamp back on. Remembering that you don't want to have any sharp bends or really tight curves anywhere in the cable. You know, if you have a, if it's got to make a tight corner, you don't have a large, large radius bend in it, it won't have a smooth path for the inner cable, and you can end up with a kinking situation where your cable's excessively tight. Alright, I'll take our cable, run it back up through, actually I don't think I had it through that one, I know I had it through here, and through there. Let me get the camera back over here, and then we can put it back in there. And now we're ready to go back and install the actual cable itself. Alright, now we can take our cable and uncoil it here. Let it spring open. Find the end without the ball or the barrel. Run it up through. And this is where you should feel, whether or not your cable has a nice smooth path, because it should slide in real easily. Like right there, I got a little resistance. I got too tight of a radius somewhere that I'm gonna have to track down. See if that's any better. Yep, there we go. Where I had it tucked under the seat a little bit. I'm going to have to address that. You can see just how lightly cable actually is, how little effort it actually takes to push through. That tells you got a nice smooth. Then you take your ball end, or your barrel end, slide it through there, and there you go. Now one more thing before we go back to the front of the cable. Make sure you back your idle off just a little bit. That way when you got your idle all the way back down, your cable isn't holding your throttle open. Your idle screw can actually close the throttle blade. If you've got your idle set too high, when you go to first start your or set your cable tension, and you try and back your idle off, your cable will actually be holding your throttle open and not allowing it to close. Alright, let's go back to the other end. Alright, we're back at the other end of the cable now. We can install our cable collet. Now remember, we have not trimmed off any of the extra length here. Alright, we'll take our cable collet, and I like to take and drop everything. I like to take this end of the collet and actually install it first. Just seems like it's easier to get the adjustment right. Plus it installs on the cable a little easier, especially the second go around. Go ahead and slide that all the way down. We'll take the other half and slide it down. Now, keeping a little tension on the cable here, using one 5/16 wrench to hold the first part. Now use our fingers to slightly tension that, and now it's good and snug, it's not sliding anywhere. We'll go ahead and we'll take the second wrench. Go ahead and tighten our collet down. And make sure you get this tight. There's nothing worse than having your kid yell at you because they're going slower because the cable collet slipped and you're not getting full throttle. Definitely something you want to check on, from time to time. Now we'll go take our, we'll get our Dremel, we'll cut our cable, the extra cable excess off. I like to cut them just having a little bit of extra to play with. So I figure we're going to cut it probably about right where my finger is and hopefully not cut my finger. So we'll just lightly bring that up and go slow. And there we go. And now we've got extra length if we do need to change something. Alright, there you go. That's how you remove and install and size up a throttle cable. We did this one on a center pedal car with a 33mm carburetor. Should be able to, take the basics from this and adapt it to, how your car is set up, regardless of where your pedal design, is, or, which carburetor you have. They're all pretty much, similar enough to where you should be able to get the idea. Like I said, the only thing you want to make sure of is you don't have any really tight bends. That'll increase friction and cause binding in the cable. You want to have a nice sweeping, large radius loop if you have to make a bend. The only other thing is make sure that after you get your cable installed, go ahead and get your driver in the car, have them step on the gas pedal and verify that they're getting full throttle. And then you're going to want to fire up the engine and verify that you can idle it down low enough to, wherever you want your low idle setting to be. You want to make sure that your cable's not hanging you up above, and keeping you from getting your idle low enough to where where you want your low idle setting to be. That wraps up this video. Again, you haven't checked it out, go to JrDragster+.com. Check out the web forum there. And until next time, we'll see you later.